Alright boys, welcome back to another Extra Boys video. This one's going to be a little bit more formal because I believe this particular round that we're going to be reviewing today, it needs a bit of a word of caution. And I'm going to explain to you why it needs a little bit of word of caution. Now, let me preface this word of caution by saying this is not a video to completely rant and rave on the Hornady Precision Hunter bullets, okay? I want to give you some basic background knowledge that you probably need to know about this Hornady Precision Hunter before we actually go out to the range and see how this bullet performs. The Precision Hunter line, you may hear some people say that it is about being a long-range bullet versus a short-range bullet. For the most part, I agree with that statement. However, I have a couple of theories why people don't like this particular style of round from Hornady. It's a legit offering from Hornady, and I'm not, again, here to rat on it, but I think I know why people kind of get all up in a wad about Hornady Precision Hunter, and that's really what I'm here to talk about this morning before we go anywhere else. To start it off with, my recommendations is, first of all, try it in your rifle. The second one, go ahead and chronograph the velocities that you get versus what the specs are on the box. You don't have a chronograph and you're asking yourself, well, how do I know? Well, Mason Leather Outdoors does a very good job of using a gun with a 22-inch barrel for a 30-06, and he uses other calibers as well. But the purpose of his video is to give you those numbers off of these brands of factory ammunition. So like, if you look up Hornady Precision Hunter and his name comes up, Mason Leather, he actually chronographs them for you so that you have that information. Here's the big concern that everybody talks about, the ethical hunting part. If you don't know this part of the conversation, this will be new because this is the part that everybody gets their panties up in a wad about. They will tell you that Hornady Precision Hunter, they will tell you that the bullet will fail. This is the only part that's a little bit controversial in this video, and I want you to be aware of it. But this is also my theory. When people say that this bullet will fail on an animal, what they're talking about is the lead jacket separating from the copper jacket. So when they've recovered the animal, what they're doing is they're looking for the bullet and they're able to find the copper jacket, but the lead from inside that part has been completely removed, for the lack of better words that I have, from that particular copper jacket. So what does that mean? Well, some people would say that that is a failure on the bullet's part, because to be honest with you, the bullets are advertised to expand at certain levels at different feet per second. For example, 2,660 feet per second, the bullet is supposed to be at probably, let's see what the numbers are. They're supposed to retain 50 to 60% of their weight. At 1,800 feet per second, they're supposed to maintain probably 85 to 90% of their bullet weight. And this is where the problem's actually coming from, and I believe that's for most hunters. The ELD-X bullet is designed for long-range performance, and if you're hunting it under 100 yards or so, what this bullet's going to do, it has a soft lead core on it, and this bullet is essentially going to possibly, I'm not saying it's going to, but it's possibly going to overexpand. And when it overexpands, it gets away from that copper jacket and the lead core. That's how it's able to separate, because it's literally pancaking into the animal. At 400 yards plus, it's not really meant to do that. It's actually acting more or less like a bonded bullet. So why am I telling y'all this? Well, initially I thought that the Hornady Precision Hunters were just failure bullets, but in reality they're marketed to act the way that they've been acting with people. They're marketed specifically for those things. So my theory is that a lot of people, and most hunters do, they hunt under 100 yards. So what they're doing is they're shooting deer, they're shooting medium-sized game with these bullets under 100 yards, and then they're coming back going, man, the bullet exploded, there's no exit hole, I wasn't able to recover the deer. To be honest with you, the bullet's going too fast for that particular range. It works fine. I'm saying people have killed deer with this. This is the part that I don't want y'all to get all up in a wad about. I know people shoot these all the time. I know that, and I also know that there are people that have unrecovered animals because it doesn't have an exit hole. It's not because they missed. I want you to understand this bullet is very accurate. It's not because they missed. It's because the bullet literally overexpanded inside the animal and fragmented, the lead fragmented inside the animal, causing that animal not to have an exit wound. Therefore, it was harder to track. That's what I'm saying. Now, this is straight off the internet. I'm literally going to read you the numbers. I looked up ELD-X bullets, and here's a couple of things that they're worth mentioning. The one thing that I told you was at high velocity, which is like the 2660 number that I mentioned earlier, it delivers expansion along its penetration path, retaining 50 to 60% of its weight, which means this bullet expands way more at faster speeds. At low velocity, beyond 400 yards, the tip initiates expansion effectively, producing mushrooms while retaining 85 to 90% of the bullet weight, and this is off of extreme range outdoors and wide open spaces. Those are the sources off of that. Another user took multiple deer and an elk with quick, clean kills using the ELD-X load. And that's also off of Rock Slide. Some users noted that the ELD-X's design makes it a soft bullet, causing overly rapid expansion at close range that might reduce penetration. We're going to test that today. My final thoughts before we hit the range are essentially this. If you're shooting this under 100 yards, you are taking the risk of having a very soft bullet and no exit wound. That's pretty much it. At range, this thing seems to perform well. I have seen many people have a lot of success with this bullet, but I've seen a lot of hate from people with this bullet. Leave a comment down below which side of the fence you're on, but I will tell you this, my personal opinions about it are, I think it's an okay bullet. Would I necessarily choose it for my first round to hunt with? Probably not. I am probably going to catch this bullet today, and it's probably going to be around 30 yards. I want to see just exactly this bullet's going to do at the range to show y'all for sure what this bullet is doing at closer ranges. Let's go ahead and get out to the range, and I'll explain what the plan is for the review for this bullet. But again, just use caution if you do decide to use this bullet. Hey, before I get to shooting, I saw something on the box that I wanted to go ahead and mention too. Right here on the lip of the Hornady box. So it says, download the free Hornady Ballistic Calculator app with 4 DOF for Apple and Android. So if you have Hornady bullets and you want to check that out, go ahead. I've checked it out before. It's actually pretty cool. Anyway, we're going to do bottom left this time and do a couple of 3-shot groups to see how we're looking out of the 30-06. I'm still going to be hunting with Remington core lock tipped out of my gun, 150 grain. I'm just sitting here to see what kind of accuracy we can get out of these bullets in particular. And the ones I'm talking about is Hornady ELD-X. We're going to figure out what they can do in at least my gun. Bottom left, I may have to take my hat off. My bill and my hat's in the way. Ah! That should be a little better. There we go. Shot number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Let's walk down there. Let's walk down there and see how it looks. Actually though, there's no need with those high vis targets. I can see what happened. It looks like it to be about a 2-inch group from the bench rest, so let's do another 3-shot group. See how they do. We'll move to the center this time. We'll just work our way to the right. Alright, center target this time, and then we'll go down there and check them out when we get them all together. That way we get a better consensus of what's going on. Alright, center target this time. 1. 2. Check my barrel. Yeah. Sun's not shining today, so we're gonna send them all the way through. We beat the sun today. That's a good squeeze on that one. Good squeeze on that one. right, let's go see how those three shot groups look now after we've shot it, and the barrel needs to cool down now because I've warmed it up at this point. Boys, y'all want to talk about a consistent 2 inches nice. I think 2 inches adequate to say that's a 2-inch group, but they're all exactly 2-inch groups. Now the accuracy of the group, I'm convinced that it's my gun that doesn't like them, and let me explain why. These aren't the best groups ever, and I know that. I 100% am aware that those are not the best groups ever, but they're consistent groups. So if your gun likes these bullets, it's going to run them like a top. That my gun just didn't run them like a top. That's consistent 2-inch groups. So if you check my last video that I did, I got a 3-shot group in the same hole out of the core lock. So I know my gun likes core locks. Your gun might like these. And out of the consistency of the size, like of the size of the groups that I got on this stuff, if your gun likes it, your gun's gonna run it really, really well. But let's try to catch a bullet, because I want to see if my theory about these bullets is gonna hold up with water. I'm gonna try to catch it with water. Might not be the best idea, but we're gonna try to catch it this morning. So, okay guys, I know I'm asking a lot of that table. I know. That's full of water, that's full of water, this is full of water. Hopefully, this catches it, because the lid, you see in there, hopefully we'll catch it. But I'm asking an awful lot out of that table. I don't know if it's going to survive this test or not. One bullet. Time for explodey boom boom. My gun rest don't go any lower, so I'm going to have to do this the red next time. Lift up the back. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Well, that was a lot. Looky what I found here, boys. We got a lot of disintegration on that thing, but I got it. I got it. Let me set this up so that you guys can see a comparison of what that box looks like compared to this. Okay, this is what the bullet's marketed to look like at pretty close to the range I was shooting. And there's the bullet. There's a little bit of lead separation in there from the copper jacket, but looks like from the advertised, there's advertised, and there's the actual original. I don't have much to complain about there. It looks exactly as advertised. So do with that information as you will, but that looks pretty close to what it's supposed to look like. Box advertisement, today's testing. So after further review, I'm decently satisfied with what happened. I still say use a word of caution, but with anything, you're supposed to use caution with everything. You're supposed to test everything that you're going to be using, especially if you're going to be using it to kill animals, or harvest animals, rather. So guys, this was a successful test. I was able to catch the bullet. Despite what everybody says, I mean, it looked like a fairly consistent bullet for me. My gun didn't necessarily like it, but you saw how consistent those groups were. So if your gun does run them, please do your research before you do it. But if your gun does run them and you trust it, go for it. But anyway, as for my test, the bullets did exactly the way that the box was advertised. That's something that I wanted to personally see today. Was it going to do what that box says it was going to do? That bullet did. So take that information and use it as you will. I hope you guys enjoyed this shorter video from the Rexstraw boys. The reason why I made it shorter is because I wanted it to be a little bit more straight to the point. And I I hope it was straight to the point. The Rextrail boys, we're going to keep doing some more bullet tests. Got some stuff coming up there. So just stay in the know by subscribing and liking the videos. That also helps us with our budget constraints that I've been talking about. It helps us be able to make more content for you. So keep that in mind. Hope you guys have a fantastic week. Till the next episode of the Rextrail boys, we gone.